A lot of small business owners work hard at marketing. Yawn. The problem is they struggle because they are locked into the wrong marketing habits. In this episode of MLM, we break down the patterns that quietly slow growth, from inconsistent posting and weak follow-up to constantly changing direction and relying too heavily on HOPE. The goal is to help business owners recognize where their routines are hurting them and what strong marketing habits look like instead. This is an episode about replacing busy work with behaviors that actually build awareness, trust, and sales over time. He's Matt Hansen. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. Welcome back, Tim.
I'm Jim Diedlow. We are coming at you from Radio Center in Hammond, Indiana. Matt's been in digital marketing and a professor for a very long time. And I've had my own media company for 22 years now. And so we just try to tell you all the mistakes that we made so that you don't make them. And that's really
exactly
what
we do,
right?
yeah.
And people, more and more of you are finding us, but you can go to Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to see the video form of this, you go to WJOB 1230 on YouTube. Now, before we do that, can we revisit what the funnel is?
Sure. So the way we look at funnels are you've got awareness, right? So people need to be aware of who your company is. And then once they're aware of you, they can start to consider whether or not they're going to purchase from you, right? Whether it's a product or a service, we go into consideration. And then there's a variety of different ways that you can look at the bottom of the funnel, right? Whether it's trial or taking a free trial or becoming a customer. And then we start to look at lifetime value and keeping people around. So many times when we're talking about small businesses, it's about the awareness side, top of funnel and generating enough awareness that people know about them, know where to find them. But, as you go through it, you've got different strategies, different parts of the funnel. So we kind of cover all of that on this podcast. And, I think it's valuable to understand each and every part of it.
All right. So as we often do, we start out with some talk about social and your business. And as we look at the funnel, awareness, consideration, close in some sort, whether it's a trial, whatever it is. The bottom of the funnel is a little more vague, but the two top levels they don't really change from business to business. But a lot of people have different views on what they should be doing to create that awareness on social media, paid versus unpaid, every day versus once a month. Let's start there.
Yeah, I could start with a story. Maybe we introduce Riley first. I brought last week.
I wasn't sure if you were introducing.
Yeah, we're going to
Riley,
introduce
or
her.
she was just supposed to sit there.
Yeah. So last week we had my son Ryan on, and today Riley's on spring break. So I decided to bring her in and introduce her to the podcast world. So welcome, Riley.
Hello.
So
hold on a second, Riley. This is media, and when these athletes are getting all interviewed in the NCAA and high school, IHSAA, they are all coached that no matter what happens, you do not answer one word. When somebody asks you a question, you got to say, "Oh, hey, it's good to be here. It's really nice. I've never done this before." Just some sort of comment.
My dad made me do this.
Yes.
I'm now a pro podcaster after today.
There you go. And you are a senior in high school, correct?
Yes.
And what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be an oncologist when I grow up.
Okay, and is there a reason for that? Was there some sort of family cancer or something?
Yeah, a lot, actually. Yeah.
Really? Yeah, same here. It's a kind of a very cancerous family in more ways than one. No, it's toxic family, but there's a lot of cancer. My little brother is a radiologist specializing in oncology, and that was definitely the push. My mom died of cancer, 20-some years ago, 30 years ago. Yeah, and but it was a long trek, and there were problems in my brother's like, man, they really screwed this up, they screwed that up. And then one day he's like working in a halfway house in Bloomington. He's 30 years old. He says, I want to be an oncologist. I'm like, okay. So he's been doing that, and it starts with often some sadness. So thank you for joining us. You do not want to be a professional podcaster about marketing.
Not at the moment.
Well,
okay.
You mentioned social. She definitely knows social, but let's jump in. So I've got this one person that I'm dealing with recently, and they're getting frustrated. And what I mean by that is the company that they work for typically just does owned social marketing, right? There's no paid, there's nothing that's going out, there's no mailers, there's no paid digital, there's really nothing other than just the owned social accounts that they have. And they're asking me, for advice and what we can do. And I said, well, let's look at the own part of it and really, what are your goals? And their goals are to sell something. When we look at what they're promoting, what they're doing out on social, it's not directly tied to any kind of conversion, right? So it's more of just the awareness, the high level. But when you're talking about an own social account, those are your followers. It's going to serve it up to other people that are outside of your followers, but most of the time it's just those individuals. So what we're understanding with this is you're promoting the same message over and over and over again to those that already follow you, that already know who you are, and they're not getting the additional conversions coming out of it. They're actually seeing a decline in sales right now. So the frustration is there, but you've got an internal battle going on where one is saying, well, no, we're going to continue doing what we're doing, and another person is saying, you're not tying this to the conversions that we need, which are going to keep us alive in the long run.
So, all right, let's go through some of the steps to build that awareness, to bring back some of their, obviously, if all they're doing is posting on their own owned social, they're not buying any ads, they're not, reaching out to new customers. And we've gone through that in many of the 128 podcasts. But one of the things that we haven't necessarily hit was consistency. And I know that when you looked at our business, that is a major problem and has been a major problem that we're addressing right now. And it's kind of hard because you got so many different things to do. It's like fits and starts. Most of the small to medium-sized business owners or people in marketing have so many roles, so they almost like lose focus and can't be consistent. What do you say to them?
I think you need to create some habits in your marketing. So I have said this countless times, create some kind of paid account that's driving awareness, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, right? Spend $5 a day, see what happens. One of the lawyers that I work with is currently doing a campaign where we literally just spend $5 a day. And every couple weeks I ask him, how's it doing? And he goes, well, we're getting more phone calls. We've tied it to additional work. We're not doing anything. It's running, and it's small, but it's consistent. So people see us over and over and over again. So when you look at the metrics of it, spending $5 a day, I looked at it this week, the average frequency of the audience that he's going after and the market that he's going after is about 1.3. So that means every single person in that market is seeing his ad 1.3 times on average. So think about that, right? Like if you could put an ad in front of everybody in the market, every target audience that you're going after for at least one time as the campaign is running, that's good, right? That's better than zero. It would be more ideal to have it at 7, 8, 9, but they can't find you if you're not out there. So unless you're posting consistently and it's being served up to a bunch of different people, you're just not going to get the awareness of it. So setting small habits, set it, and I don't want to say set it and forget it, because what we set it, and the nice part, it's a Facebook and Instagram campaign. And the nice part is we mentioned last year that Meta was going to an AI model, which would allow you to do everything AI. So we had one single ad that we were running. It wasn't anything special. And we got the notification, okay, well, we now have 15 additional ads that you can choose from that we've used AI to generate. And I went into it and I looked at it, and it's not perfect, right? So he's a local guy. He's not in a big city. I would say probably 5 of them had skyscrapers in the background, which makes no sense. But there were 2 or 3 other ones in there that we actually lifted and said, okay, well, let's put those into the ad. rotation. And I keep checking back every couple weeks and saying, okay, well, are there new ones that are being generated? And it's a simple $5 a day campaign. He doesn't think about it. He lets me run it for him. And, I check in every so often and we make some modifications and things like that. But he's being consistent at this point, and he's seeing the increase in it. It's the ones that I'm going to launch a $200 campaign and see what happens. Nothing worked. Nothing happened, right? And you hear that so often. And I always say, instead of just spending $200 in a matter of 5 days, why don't you just spread that out over a month and see what happens, and then do it again and again and again. But most people, they want it all now. I mean, it goes back to social media and how we want everything on our phones instantaneous at this point, which we could go into a long, probably 4 or 5 episodes on that. But the inconsistency in marketing is killing the awareness, is killing the conversions for your customers, because you're trying to just like do it all at one time instead of spreading it out over time. So I think here's a perfect example of that. Occasionally I'll put something on eBay, and instead of putting it as an auction, I'll put it as a buy it now. And if you watch it, you'll get a number of people that will actually see the listing that you put out there, and they'll start to watch it. Now, mind you, I don't put it at a discount on there. I want a certain price for it, and this is what I'm willing to take for it. And it may take a month. It may take 3 months to get somebody to buy it. But I'm also making 16, 17% on what I sell on there. And, okay, I'll wait for that to come in. I'm not going to sell it at a loss. So I think what we're saying here is, over the long haul on eBay, I can post something and just let it sit, and it's going to continually be served up to individuals. It's the same way with social media or any other paid marketing that you're doing. Do small increments, make sure you spread it out over the long term, and be consistent. Don't just try and do it over a weekend.
Well, that begs the question of duration.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't want to just set it and let it go for 7 months and you never adjusted anything. Right. But you also want to have consistency where you're able, I mean, what do you tell people about duration?
Yeah, I again, people, they want short, quick results, and you've got to do things over an entire 12-month period. Now, I get there's seasonality and things like that. I mean, especially in your business with football and basketball, and then baseball is kind of coming up. But once you hit the summer in high school sports, there's not a whole lot to talk about, right? But from a duration standpoint, I think people need to put content out there. They need to pay attention to it. The days are over of just putting something out there, set it and forget it. I think the algorithms at this point are actually penalizing things that have been sitting for a long time. So we had a client that we were working with where we would just put the ads out there and they could not keep up with the comments. And over the last, I would say 2 months, 3 months, they're not seeing the same results because we weren't changing things up as often. So now we have to change them more often because it's just there's some drastic changes going on out there. So pay attention to it. But again, go for a long period. Don't try the short weekend approach because it's just not going to work.
So one of the things we talk about on a regular basis is, all right, here you are, you're a small to medium-sized business. I'm racked with things to do, and I want to get customers here. I want to get customers in this income level. I want to get customers from this side of the state line. Oh, I should probably try to get some from the other side of the state line. So I should probably be on Facebook. I should probably be on Instagram. I should probably buy some local ads on cable or put a billboard. Anybody who listens to this on a regular basis knows exactly what the answer is going to be. But, what do you say to people that are kind of spraying the infield?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. If you're putting very little effort into a ton of different things, you're a trader, right? So let's go back to the trading field. If you go out there and you buy 100 stocks today and you try and pay attention to all of them and what's going on, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, you're going to lose money instantly because you just can't focus that way, right?
Three was the max.
Right.
One is good, maybe two, but they coach you never to have more than 3 avenues that you have to pay attention to.
Right. Well, Riley and I were talking on the drive in about people that have multiple siblings, right? So think about that. If you have one child, I was an only child until my dad got remarried. Then I have a half brother. But growing up, I was I know it's funny to think about this, but I was the focus of the family. And then, then you have people that that have 15 siblings, and you're just kind of like, how do you even pay attention to that much, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you can't put the same amount of effort into understanding what's going on with each one of them. So it's more or less like, I know they're there, I know things are happening, but I can't spend 24/7 of my time focused on that each one of them. So I don't know. Pay attention to less. You said 3. I think 3 is ideal. I wouldn't go anything larger. Many times I hear people, we're going to do 7, 8, 9, 10 different things, and I go, okay, that's fine as long as they're automated. You got to figure this out. But I don't know. It's just,
we were just talking about should we be everywhere, and I don't want to interject you, but I basically channel my inner Hanson all the time and say, well, Matt would say, you got to get good at one.
Yeah.
And that has been so many of these podcasts, and it has really changed our business. I'm like, I need to get good at this piece and before we try anything else, even though you could get benefits from the other part. And that's hard for the small to medium-sized business person who's used to just spraying and doing this and doing that. It's like, all right, here I am. I want to build awareness. I'm going to build awareness here, and I'm going to get good at it. You also, in building your habits and your routines, you have to track things. And that is something that a lot of people don't want to do.
No.
They're just like, yeah, well, I'm getting enough sales. I'm not worried about it. That's all wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I talk to probably, I would say 80, 90% of the companies that I talk to don't track anything. And it's gut-wrenching because when I start asking them, well, all right, well, if we were to track this and we were to improve this by 1%, that would actually add 20% to your bottom line. And they go, well, it may. It's just, they don't want to be kind of called out on it. But I had the client that we opened with today, I had a conversation with them yesterday, and they asked me, can we build a funnel with the data that you have? And I said, absolutely. Let's build that funnel. Let's start measuring where we're at, because then you'll know where, if you put money into this, what the expectation is. So, as I run the digital marketing competition, which is a, undergraduate digital competition for students across the world, and
the deadline has passed.
It has passed, yeah.
So
which is fine because we had almost 300 entries from across the world. But when I look at that, the students that are coming out at this point, you have some that will just kind of ho-hum about metrics, and we're going to measure these things, and then you have some that go so deep into it. I had one that I was watching earlier, and they dove into even the ingredients of the company to compare it to the target audience and their needs, and they're measuring everything at this point. And I think if you're not measuring, you're never going to grow a business. You don't, and we quote Marcus Lemonis a lot on this, but he always says, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. And it's so true, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to waste money left and right.
So as a illustration of that, Matt came in and looked at us in a sports streaming company that's just growing exponentially. And all we have been doing is chasing growth, and we have found it. Mm-hmm. And we have found it, it wasn't at great CAC, customer acquisition costs, but the growth is coming, and we basically built into a VC about 5 to 7% loss, which is really kind of about where they want you to be. But we made one mistake. all the way through. And now we're starting a podcast network, and we will not make this mistake. And that is, we did not track. And now Hunter and I have been going for 2 weeks, just going back and trying to look at all the numbers and put them on spreadsheets and track and aggregate fragmented media. It will be so much easier when Adriana goes along. She's taking your class, of course, that helps. But you got to track from the beginning. Even if you're buying $5 a day and you're the lawyer, said, all right, I'm at 1.3 of my target audience. Not too bad. All right, let's spend $10. Okay, then let's track it. Now we're over 2, that kind of stuff. So I can tell you from personal mistakes, do not wait too long to start tracking the marketing that you're doing.
Right. Well, it's funny. I've got Riley sitting next to me, and Riley is not in marketing. And, you know, you're going to go into the medical field, but do you track things?
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of spreadsheets, to be honest.
So
Google or Microsoft?
Google.
Of course. Way better. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The formulas are easier. Yeah.
So we it's funny. We don't know where she's going to school yet, but we actually have a Google sheet that we have created that will literally calculate what she owes for each school that she's getting in. So we have I think it's 12?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So there's 12 schools in there, and it's, tuition, room and board, food, scholarship 1, scholarship 2, and then it calculates what we would owe every single year, and then what we would owe for 4 years, right? So you're 18 years old, you're in high school, you do this for not only getting into school, but you did it for all the application stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, for my applications, when I was looking where I wanted to apply, I actually put down every single average stat, and then I colored it green if I had it, and then I applied to the ones where it was all green.
I know that sounds a little bit far, okay, for the average small to medium-sized business that we're talking to. But there is many of you out there that do none of that. You're like, yeah, if you were applying to med school, you'd be like, they sound pretty good. I would just go. Yeah. That's how many of us run our business. And quite frankly, that's how I ran it until you came in. And it's like, dude, you got all these numbers. You have to aggregate. You have to track. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. That sounds boring. And then when you get into the data, you're like, this is the coolest thing ever. And that's what I want to tell you, small to medium-sized business people. This is fun. I hate to put it that way.
It's fun. So Riley did all of this stuff, and I know it's not marketing, but understanding where you are, where you stand against other competitors, because that's what we're talking about, right? So it was each school, GPAs, ACT, SAT, all of those types of things. But she tracked all of that because she wanted to know where she stood. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's a lot of data. Is it going to pay off?" Well, I'm going to brag. She's 7 for 8 with her applications, right?
You have a market fit.
She found where she needs to go, what she needs to do, and she has been extremely successful, right?
So, congratulations, by the way, 7 of 8. What's number 1?
Oh, that's the question.
Oh,
I hope it's IU.
I'm afraid IU is not on there.
Oh. My niece is orthopedic surgeon in her second or third year down there in Indianapolis. Yeah. She's a total wreck. I mean, I did not know it was such highly rated and so difficult. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't mean to scare you off, but I haven't seen her in a year and a half, and she's my goddaughter.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, so you went through and applied what your dad's been teaching about marketing, and you've been listening, and people call him, and you hear it. And he's, all right, what are the numbers? What are the numbers? What are the numbers? I took his classes. I know that game. And now he's applied it to our business and shown that we have basically wasted 2 or 3 years not tracking these things. So that's a great attitude that can be shifted over to marketing. Mm-hmm. The attitude is there's so much data now and it's so easy to get. Your average small to medium-sized business person is thinking 10 or 20 years ago when how difficult it was. I mean, you're taking receipts and you're adding them up on an adding machine and all that. No, man. Boom. QuickBooks will do it for all that you do. Method, we use Method, which is attached to QuickBooks. CAC is easy, CLTV, all of those things.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you're looking at them, you're like, man, this is good, or ooh, I got some work to do.
Right. Well, and again, going back to the digital marketing competition with our client in there, they gave the students the customer acquisition costs, the lifetime value, all of the data that they needed. So for you to take we give them a $250,000 budget. I know that's a lot of money, but it's a lot of money for some small businesses. Let me put it that way. But when we look at it and you spend $250,000 and you understand the metrics, you know what should spit out on the other side. You should have X number of customers. You should, what should actually work and what shouldn't. But again, we're just trying to educate you to understand your numbers for your business, but also for your marketing, because you can make. It's almost a cheat code. It really is.
It is a cheat code in terms of that attitude that Riley has toward data, which is something that Adriana here has a real, a thirst for data. And I'm late to the game, but now I'm like loving it. Okay. But I know one other part that you have been critical of our process, and we're hitting habits, routines. The guy sitting in there. This is the only break I take from 8:30 to 1 every day now, okay? And it's not just time, there's a habit. But I haven't been able to get to this one, and that is we just don't have good follow-up yet. And you need to tell me and all the other people that are listening to this while they're doing 4 other different things, how do you follow up? There's a lead out there. I mean, how many times did you go, hey, we should probably talk to, oh, yeah, I know that guy. He called me and he asked, oh, yeah, we're supposed to give him a quote. And we never did, and that was 2 years ago. And that's really a bad story to tell. What do you tell that person?
So somebody has come to you, made a phone call, walked in your store, sent you an email, whatever it is. They're basically telling you, take my money. That's what they're doing. And if you don't sell them right at that moment, you have to realize that there are a series of follow-ups, a series of processes that you must do to get them to relinquish control of their money, right? And I'm saying that in a positive way. When you first meet with them, if they're not buying, then you haven't solved whatever pain point they have. They're not comfortable enough to release the money to you, and they're not going to go with you. So what is the follow-up process that you have developed? Is it an email? Is it a phone call? Are you stopping by their house to say, hey, I just wanted to follow up? I don't know what your process is, but I would say 95% of businesses don't have a process. So ideally, where we are heading, especially in the digital world, is automation has become key, right? So somebody enters, puts in information, I want to get a quote on this. We expect instantaneous results, right? So if somebody fills something out on your website and I want a quote on this, they're not willing to wait for days to get that quote back. They want an automated response coming back.
It needs to go right to somebody's cell phone right now. And if they're out for dinner, they need to go in their car and put together that quote and send it.
But even just a simple email that comes back that says, hey, we've received it. Matt is currently working on it. We'll have it to you within the next 24 hours. Look for our phone call. This is the number it'll be coming from. That's all automated. But that gives you 24 hours to get back to them if you really want, if that's the timeline. But nobody is setting that up, right? The form comes in, it sits in an inbox, it maybe goes to a spam folder. Oh, shoot, there it is. I should have gotten back to them 2 weeks ago. They're long gone at that point. So you've just burned that entire lead.
We record this live on AM 1230 and 104.7 here in the Chicago area. And I almost fell off my chair when you went, shh. Because we had a guy in an earlier show not use shoot.
Nope.
Used a different word.
Yep.
So thank you for cleaning it up, because I know
better.
I know casually you would use the other word.
Yep.
Hey, sum up habits, routines, processes. Boring, but not boring.
Boring, but not boring, right? So the way that I would look at this is, is there something that you don't do during the day that you're just like, man, I wish we had this set up? And just take that first step and just go, all right, if if I wanted to solve this, if I wanted to get this off my plate, if I didn't want to answer certain things, is there some kind of automation that I can do? But, figure out one thing you can change right now. We talk a lot about AI, and I don't even want to go into where I'm at right now on some of the things. But
Same here. We went. So, you're a professor trying to get people jobs and stuff. We put a moratorium on interns, and we always took 3 over the summer. No new employees, because AI is our new employee, and I hate to put it that way. I don't know what's going to happen to all these people coming out with marketing degrees.
What I'm telling the students right now is you need to understand AI, and you have to show how you are using it, because that will get you the job. They need somebody because most companies, and I'm saying all the way up to the Fortune 500, don't necessarily understand the capabilities of it, but they're looking for somebody to explain it to them. And if you are a student coming out of school, or if you're just somebody looking for a job, if you just understand a few basics of AI and how to automate some processes, you will actually stand at the top of that list. That's what people are hiring right now.
We got to call it. Our producer and the head of the podcast network here is also graduating from Purdue and is in your class, and you chose podcasts as the exit class out of Purdue.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, it's fun. I think the fact that they have to build their own podcast and they have literally nothing to start with, but you give them all the tools, is the most fun part, because they went in a variety of directions. They're marketing it. We have the comparison numbers that we put on the board every single time so they can see where they are in comparison to the other people. I still brag about our numbers in front of them, so it drives them nuts. But
Australia.
Yeah.
Australia's, hey, down under, thank you. It's the same principles, but whoever's sharing us in Australia, thank you.
Yeah, I never thought that Australia would be bigger than Canada, but we have more listeners in Australia than Canada. So
he's Matt Hansen. I'm Jim Deedlow. Until next time, see you later.
Indiana wants me. Know a Hoosier serving in the military or living overseas? Indiana wants every eligible Hoosier to participate in our elections. Military and overseas voters can register and vote securely from anywhere in the world. Voting assistance for service members, families, and eligible Hoosiers is available now. Visit IndianaWantsYou.com or contact your county election office. And remember, Indiana wants you. Message sponsored by your Indiana Secretary of State.
Indiana wants me.
Tech Credit Union supports the essential role of union labor in building strong communities. That's why we offer hassle-free banking, financial empowerment, and a commitment to your success. Save for the future, handle life's challenges, and trust a partner that stands by hardworking union members. Tech Credit Union, the better option for you and your money. Visit techcu.org or call 800-276-8324. Tech Credit Union, supporting union families every step of the way.
Summer's coming, and Deep River Water Park is taking applications for all positions. We have jobs both inside and out for all ages that offer great benefits. Free admission on your day off for you and a friend. Free uniforms, paid training, make new friends, flexible scheduling, and more. To apply, just go to deepriverwaterpark.com and you're on your way to a summer of rewarding fun.
Deep River Water Park. It's simply splastastic.
Plumbers Local 210 is building the future, and we're looking for service plumbers to join our team. Our training center invests nearly $500,000 every year to make sure our members are the best in the industry. From a 5-year apprenticeship and an associate degree at Ivy Tech to ongoing certifications in safety and new technology, our plumbers are trained for excellence. Every member is drug tested and licensed for your safety and peace of mind. When you need plumbing work done, make sure you ask for the license. It's your right to ask.
BBC stereophonic sound for the home is recorded on 2 separate tracks, each one giving special emphasis to certain sections of the orchestra, as heard from those positions. Now, when played back simultaneously on 2 separate systems, the sounds are blended together to achieve a new dimension in sound, impossible to obtain in a monaural recording.
We got a special guest in the studio today, Riley Hansen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
She's a senior in high school and is with her dad, the marketing guru for the Midwest, digital marketing guru, Matt Hansen. Matt, thanks for bringing Riley here. She helped out a lot in the last episode.
Yeah, well, we're going to get her vocal in this one, but, they always say, I thought it was appropriate, the fact that most small businesses are family businesses, and I like to include my kids in anything that I do. So we had Ryan on last week. We have Riley this week. So I always say that they can always look back and listen to it if they want to later on. But, it's funny how their friends are all asking, when's it on? Can we listen to it on the radio and everything else? So it's
Tell everybody in Australia to listen too. That's our number one country. And thank you down under. I don't know why, but thank you for doing that. Riley is at Lake Central High School in Indiana, and she's getting ready to go to college, choose a college, and she used a spreadsheet mentality to figure out where she wants to go and hopefully become a doctor someday, right?
Yes, that is correct.
I'm telling you, maybe not IU for undergrad, but IU Medical School in Indy it's really nice too. They got right there off of Mass Ave, and they have their own social. I go down to a meeting and I'm like, I'm gonna go see my niece. Oh well, I'm studying, and then we're all meeting over here at one of the bars, and then I don't have any time for you, Uncle Jim. Yeah, that's what you want, and they're all talking cadavers.
She actually finds out. Was it Monday?
Something like that.
I think it's Monday, whether or not she gets into one of the IU med programs.
So you can be a direct admin on that 6-year plan or something like that?
Yeah, it would be, I would go to Purdue for my undergrad, and then I would go to IU Westlaw for my med school.
They have a med school?
They do. They have a satellite campus essentially there. But yeah, she's got some scholarship thing that she's been.
Well, wouldn't it be really nice? Because if you're a professor at Purdue, isn't there like a huge tuition break?
No, there's not.
There's not?
No, we get half off tuition, which, if you know anything about Purdue, is not a drastic thing considering that tuition has been held stable for however many years. I think it's 12 at this point. So it works out to be like $5,000 or something a year.
Wow, that is very surprising. I thought it would be, well, you can go anywhere.
We don't use it, actually.
Why don't you go to like some small private school in Pennsylvania and just build it up to like $90,000 a year, and then your dad will be here doing podcast after podcast with me. Hey, it's episode 130. What small business owners should fix before spending another marketing dollar? before your small business spends any more money on ads, you need to make sure the basics are working. In this episode of Mastering Local Marketing, we walk through the key things small business owners should fix first, including their offer, messaging, website experience, reviews, conversion path, and follow-up system. If these pieces are weak, paid traffic only exposes the problem faster. This episode is a practical reminder that advertising works best when the foundation underneath it is strong. Fix the leaks first, then scale what is already converting. We are recording this live on AM 1230 and 104.7 FM, and also actually on the TuneIn app. And it is just it's opening day of 2026 baseball. And everybody's really happy because in the morning it's supposed to get up to 80 degrees, and then by 6 o'clock it's supposed to be like 45, which was
Welcome
what
to
happened.
Chicago.
Yeah, welcome to Chicago. But for some reason, the heat is on. Can one of you guys turn the temperature down and give us a little break?
The devil just walked in.
No, I just turned it up. It's freezing in here.
Oh, you did that.
I turned it up, yeah.
All right, well, it's pretty warm out here. Let me take. Hey, you know what? This would really gross everybody out if I just went shirtless and did the show, walking around. I went to Florida in the beach for 8 days, and it's amazing how many people wear those sun shirts now.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, "Why don't you wear one of those?" I'm like, "Well, how do you get any sun then?" But
yeah, well, that's the point.
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
didn't quite
we
get
actually
it.
have we actually have a few of those as well.
What if you do a meta campaign without tracking?
Oh, there's so many that
95% of people that do it on their own, that's what they do.
Yeah, I've got a couple clients right now that they're just like, just run it, it's fine. And I keep saying that no, we need to put the tracking mechanisms in there. And funny enough, I get we can't. And I go, what do you mean we can't? Well, they've purchased systems. One of them has kind of a CRM system where they drive traffic
Content
over.
resource management.
And, we drive traffic over to it. People sign up for, kind of a scheduler, so to speak. And there's nowhere in this system to put any tracking code. And I go, it's just driving me nuts. So when you run a campaign and you're sending traffic over, like, Meta can't really learn what's going on because it has nothing to go off. It's just throwing traffic and it's not getting the signals back saying that it's working. I've had others that will tell me, no, we can't put that on our website. We only put this code, and that's going to conflict with other things. And I just, okay. I mean, many times what you hear is, I don't want to try and figure out a fix for it, so we're just not going to put it on. And really what's ending up happening when you're doing that is you're spending more than you have to. So something that should cost you, let's call it $5 to get a new customer, is actually probably costing you more like $15 because it's just not learning. So when you put money into advertising and your system is not built to work the way that the advertising platforms are meant to work, you're actually highlighting the problem areas and causing more chaos than you're actually solving.
So let's look at a few of these areas that are for your clients, and you work with a lot of them. All right, hey, I want to do billboards, and I want to offer a reduced thing. I want to reduce price on braces, and that's all you want to say. It's reduced right now. It's kind of slow. I bought a billboard for 4 months over the summer, and I want to do all the braces and everything for $39.99. That's what they want to say, and they want to drive maybe 4 or 5 clients like that, and that'll be enough to cover the advertising and everything. But then it's down in the lower right of the billboard, and it's like, I thought, there's your picture and saying how great you are, but really what you want is $39.99 for the braces. What do you say to that client?
I think the offer is the number one thing that you have to focus on, right? So you should create an offer that is impossible to say no to. And many of the times that I sit down with my clients and I'm meeting with people, I will not take a single dollar until we have multiple conversations about where you're going, what you're going to do. And the reason that I do that is because I want them to know that I want to understand everything about them before I ever take $1 from them. I need to know your work ethic. I need to know what you're tracking. I need to know what your plans are. I need to know what your capabilities are, all of these different things. When you're putting all these offers out there, you have to realize that there are other people out there, other people selling braces. So you say $39.95. Is that a discount? Yeah, it seems like a discount to me, right?
It's usually in the 5 to 6 range.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So it's $39.95. My next question becomes, okay, why is it so cheap? Right? What's included with that? We went through braces in our family, right? So Riley can attest to this.
Riley, you have really beautiful teeth,
Thank
and I'm
you.
sure they were very expensive, and that makes me smile.
Oh, thank you.
They were more than $39.95.
So,
But you know, when we took advantage of offers that came out, right? So we had 2 different orthodontists that we worked with in our family.
Yes.
I'm not sure where Mom got hers, but I was the only one that didn't have braces in our family. And so we had different orthodontists that we were dealing with, and they were different deals. I remember we saw the deals, and the first one that we dealt with was it was a discounted price, but then they covered every single thing up until like a certain amount of years afterward. Then we had Riley's, and I feel like we paid a little bit more for different things based on things that were happening. So you would break a bracket, and it was included for like the first 2, and then after that, it wasn't included. Right? Do you remember
Yes.
that?
I think I only broke one though.
Okay. But you know what I mean. Remember, he was like, "Oh, well, that's $50 for this," and I'm like, "What do you mean? We already paid for this?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, no, it wasn't included." So it's like it was a great deal. But then you start to get, like, I actually started getting mad at yours.
Really?
Do you remember that? I was just like, this is crazy. I can't believe I have to pay another $200 for this and $50 for this. But you start to build frustrations in some of that stuff. So your offer has to be really good, but you have to stick by that offer as well, right?
so clarity.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, even if somebody were to see that on a billboard, they're going to go to your website and take a look. And that also has to have clarity. How do you create the clear landing page?
Right. So let's say, we see this billboard, $39.95 braces. I go over to the website, and there is no mention of that anywhere on that page. I have no idea. Did I see that right? Do I have to go back and drive by the billboard to get a special phone number for it? Like, what is it that I'm seeing here, right? So I see this all the time where people will build advertising in the digital space, and they'll drive traffic back over to a landing page or just to the home page of their website, and you can't find the offer anywhere. And I had one like that a while back where they did red light therapy, which, has become more popular lately, but they were driving traffic back to their homepage. And I said, well, what are you trying to do here? And they said, well, we're trying to fill up the calendar and get people to come in and try it. And I said, well, why don't you create a scheduler instead that drives traffic over, and let's figure that out, right? So we started having these conversations. They weren't getting anyone that were coming in, doing these free trials and all this other stuff. And I said, okay, well, let's try something different. So we created a campaign where it was literally 8 sessions once a week. I think it was like a Thursday. And there were 8 sessions, and the ads started on Thursday. And within like an hour, we had to turn the ads off because they were filled, right? So we sent it over to a scheduler. You could see the available time slots that were open. You could put your name down, and you could come in for a free trial, 1 session kind of thing. And honestly, they went for months without getting anyone to come in and try it. And all we did was change the landing page to say, okay, well, here are 8 slots. First come, first go, first. So like, it was just amazing.
Wow,
like we would shut them down in 30 minutes because the sessions would be gone. And, I don't want to talk about how like it went from there, because they put on the hard sales tactics after that. But, we solved the problem just by changing the landing page off of it.
All right, so within that, they scheduled, and there was obviously a clear next step, or was it just
So they would get a phone call immediately after that and say, okay, we've got you down for this date, this time. Just want to clarify, we know who's coming in. We have, Matt Hansen. This is your phone number, your email, and they would confirm it, and we say, okay, we'll see you, on that date.
So the next step was clear of,
Right.
you're all right here. I signed up for this. What do I do now? Click here, and you now enter, whatever information you want, or there's directions to the office or whatever
Right.
it is. So when you talk, we're really getting into something we really haven't talked too much about, and that is lead capture. Mm-hmm. We're all looking for awareness. We're all looking for leads. That's what you do in a small to medium-sized business. And obviously, I was the worst at getting the lead and capturing the lead. So what would you say to a person like me and like the very busy small business owner who's like, dude, I got these big clients, but I don't know if this one's good, and it's just more than I can handle, and so they almost don't do anything. What do you say to that person?
I would say have a process ready to go, right? So more often than not, I see people bury the lead, right? So it's
not just in a news story, but in a
Right.
website, in a flyer, or whatever it might be.
I want to get more people reaching out to me, but then I'll put a contact link, a text link at the bottom, and there's no incentive for me to reach out or take advantage of any offers because I just can't see them, right? Like you bury it. So what we try to do is say, what is your goal? Your goal is to get more email addresses. Your goal is to get, you want to sell this type of product, whatever it is. That should be front and center, above the fold. And when I say above the fold, I mean when you scroll on a website, everything below, the screen when you initially come on that website is called below the fold. So we put the offer above the fold, and we want to call it out. And you see a lot of this where people will do pop-ups, like sign up and get 20% or whatever, and they're trying to get emails. And that's exactly what we're talking about. But many times with that, what you'll get is they'll collect an email and they'll never do anything with it. They won't reach back out to them. They won't have any automated processes in there. So you're doing half of it right, but you drop the ball halfway through, and now you're just kind of sitting there with things. So what I'm saying is plot it out. I mean, all of you that are listening, go out there and buy a small little whiteboard if you must. Take a little piece of paper and just draw out a flow and say, all right, somebody comes to my website. What do I want them to do? I want them to fill out this form. How am I going to deliver this form? I do it this way. Okay, that information comes into a database. What happens next, right? And again, the digital marketing competition that I run, I sit and I talk with people that run these other competitions that are out there on the collegiate level. They have 20, 30, 40 different people that are helping them put these things on. I'm going to tell you right now, we had almost 300 people enter this thing. I have no staff. I've automated everything. The sign-up process is simple. They sign up on the website. They get the case study immediately after they sign up, right? There's a few emails that go out that are all automated, right? It comes into a database. The message is already there. It's ready to go. It's automated send on a certain date. 1 week before, they get an email that says, hey, by the way, just a reminder, we got 1 week to go. Here are the rules. Don't break any of the rules, right? It's all of this automation stuff. And it makes me look like I'm this massive competition, but it's one person sitting in an office somewhere in a college that's running this thing.
You're like the Wizard of Oz.
Yes, I am the Wizard of Oz.
Holy moly.
Don't look
There you
behind
go.
the curtain. Best comment of the year right there.
That is the best comment. The other best comment your dad makes on a regular basis is, how do you do so much? Well, I know how to say no.
Yeah.
And that is something I'm trying to show to Adriana about a couple of clients that are, don't want to pay or too much attention. I'm like, sometimes just, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right. We need to move on. And when you're ready or whatever, or probably may not ever be, but you have to choose what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that is part of this. Let's go on to this. So really what you're saying in all of this is that you got to follow up.
Yeah. If you don't follow up, what's the point in taking the lead?
Let's take Riley. Riley, you're applying for colleges right now, right?
Yes.
You apply, I think your main main 8 right now or so, and you're looking at 8 different colleges. Have you seen differences? All right, I went to their website, I put in, I might want to go, I want an application. I'm not going through the universal application. I want to know a little bit more. I might even go on a visit. Do you see differences in the follow-up capabilities of each one?
Yeah, one of them I didn't even know I got in. I had to go hunting for it in my email because they didn't send me an email. They just sent me, oh, check your portal, but it wasn't like a big to-do. And then the other ones were sending me like personalized notes from my admissions counselors on how much they liked my application. And it was, I would say there was a difference.
So your dad is looking at the follow-up procedures probably a little more closely than the average parent, is my guess.
Well, here, and not to name names, and we're not going to name names, but we had a mail day, and we received 3 different pieces from 3 different universities that she got in, right?
Yeah,
The first one was a postcard,
this is true.
and just it looked probably like a local agency just slapped it together and sent it. And I went, what is that, right? The next one was a large or oversized envelope with some things in it. And, college kids love stickers.
I love the stickers. That
So-
is the most efficient way to get me is to send me stickers.
And put them on your laptop. Is one of the ways. Yeah.
Well, yes, exactly. And so we had the postcard, then we have this oversized thing that gives you a sticker, right? But there were fake stickers in there as well, and we're just kind of like, man, they just missed the boat on that, because with all the fake ones, they could have created this mass sticker, like, oh my goodness, look, they sent me 7 stickers instead of 1. I would put those on my laptop. Then the third one comes completely sealed in a gigantic box.
It was huge.
Literally gigantic box. And it became an unboxing like you would do on YouTube, where you had to cut the cellophane, you open it slowly. It had the nice folder. It had,
Did it have a coffee cup or no?
No, but they gave me a hat, so I can't complain.
Same idea.
it was a hat, a sticker, a pin, a pennant,
Yeah.
like all. Like,
Hey, can you let your dad wear the hat to hide that awful haircut?
I like his haircut.
All right, sorry, I had to throw that in. But so
what we're saying is like 3 different pieces there, right? And people are going to notice, like, you're sending out this information and you're competing with other people trying to get the business, right? And this is what we're seeing, is the fact that we were joking that the box itself probably cost them $100 to $150 to produce. But when you think about it, an application fee is what, $80 these days?
Yeah.
So, I mean, think of all the people that you didn't accept. I mean, you're paying for marketing and all that. But it's how you're being treated even with the messaging that you're getting. So you see a postcard, and I believe the university that you had to go looking for was the postcard. Am I correct?
Yes, this
okay.
is true.
So you're being treated that way. Then you have this other one that sends you this custom box, and then they send us an email the next day saying, we're going to pay for you to fly out and come see the campus. Where do you think the mindset goes at that point, right? Like, from a marketer standpoint, I have to go look to see if I'm included. You send me a crummy little postcard, and I know you're not going there, so I can say crummy little postcard. But then you have kind of these she's got it down to 3, and I'm not going to name names, but like, that's where we are today. And it's how you treat your customers. And it's funny to me to see the differences. And even at a major university, how some get it so right and some get it so wrong.
Yeah.
can't you just run a ton of ads and just flood the market, and then none of this other stuff will matter?
Sure, but then you get the postcard and you have to go looking for if you're in, and that just doesn't. I mean, let's face it, that's I think it's like a 13-hour drive to go to that one. And are you going to leave home and go 13 hours away to somewhere that doesn't necessarily treat you like some of the other ones are? I don't know.
They gave you a postcard. That's all you got.
My top 3 are really nice. They send me emails. Yeah. They
And-
fly me out.
And when it gets really to crunch time, you might get a few personal phone calls if you've given your.
I did get one of those already.
Yeah, I mean it's competitive now for the best students, which you certainly are. She's Riley Hansen. He's Matt Hansen. You know, we're talking about you as a small business owner or small business marketer. You know what you need to fix. Sum it up.
Yeah, putting money into ads is not. It is not going to make you look better if your back end, if your processes aren't where they need to be. It's just going to accentuate it. It's going to put a giant spotlight on all the problems that you have. So fix the problems, fix the processes first, and then put the ad dollars out there.
He's Matt Hansen. She is Riley Hansen, and you have one more announcement.
I have one more thing. So I've thrown into the description of the podcast going forward, I've actually put in there, if you sign up for our mailing list, our email mailing list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling one person from the mailing list every month, and I will give you a free 30-minute consult. So I think, Jim, there's no, I'm not looking for money. I'm just literally looking to get more involved with our listeners and really understand what some of their problems are. So I think it'll really be interesting to kind of bring some of those to the podcast. And I think Jim can attest to what a 30-minute conversation with me can be, since he does.
Have we had any that were just 30 minutes?
No. And this probably won't be 30 minutes either, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. So I can just attest to that. I went through the MBA program. That's how Matt and I got to know each other. That was, I think, as many as almost 10 years ago when we first met. And I took all the classes, which is I thought it was way too much about email, but it turns out that it wasn't, because that's the best return on your investment.
Sorry for teaching you the good things.
Exactly. But Professor Hansen came in and looked at all of our processes, and it was a lot of discussion and a lot of rethinking about it. And really what I think, to be straight about it, is it showed all of the mistakes we were making. And you kind of have to be open to that. You can't say, well, this is how I did it. It's a third generation. That's how we're going to do it. But if you really want to learn, this 30-minute consultation could change your life in your business.
Yeah. And like I said, we'll pick one person every single month, and I'll get that scheduled, and we'll sit down and just have a conversation. We'll do it over Zoom, and unless you're local, and I'll come over and we'll check things out.
Thanks a lot to Riley. Is okay?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks a lot to Matt Hansen. Thanks, of course, always to Adriana Alvarez. She runs the podcast network. If you want to watch this, go to WJOB 1230 on YouTube. Otherwise, just type in Mastering Local Marketing wherever you get your podcasts.